Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our August the 11th, 2026 committee meeting. We're going to go ahead and start. Please silence your cell phones before we get started. We're going to go ahead and start with the building committee, and we're going to turn this over to you, Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Ms. Stovall. Our building program update will start here with Mr. Baker. Come on up. There he is.
Yep.
Here. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Committee members, board members, Ms. Stovall, Dr. Cobb, brief update on ELOS 6 and 7. So tonight, going to go through some general comments, and then I would like to touch on two projects, kind of a refresher, two major projects, talk about status and a little bit about the scope. But let me give just a couple overview comments, and then we'll kind of jump into those and a couple pictures. So last month we discussed in some detail that ELOS 5, 6, and 7, the programs are all tracking within their program budgets, so pleased to say that remains the case. We also discussed last month that Westside CTAE regeneration is tracking for fall 27. Still is fine. Butler baseball softball complex is tracking for spring of 27. That's fine. Davidson Black Box Theater is still tracking for November 26, maybe a little earlier. That's tracking fine. And Langford Tut, we did have a fair amount of dialogue about Langford Tut tracking for completion in November 26, and although tight, that is still tracking fine. So all those active projects remain, the tracking remain unchanged. That's a good thing. Budget remains square. That's a good thing. We also discussed the completion of the ARC turf field, and that was going to be very tight. There's actually two components of that field complex. One is the practice field, which has just been changed over to turf. That is actually complete, and they are in fact practicing on that. Okay. Coming behind that is the completion of the stadium field, and that is tracking, as we discussed last month, very close to that first opening game. There's a plan A and a plan B. Call it which one you want, but there's a plan to play the game somewhere else. I believe that's probably what we'll do, but they're somewhere between the 1st and the 4th of September to complete that field, with the game being on the 4th. We'll watch it very closely and see what makes sense around that game, but certainly be ready for the second home game. And I do have a couple pics of the practice field. It is beautiful. So that will be similar for the stadium field. So jumping right into, want to look at a couple pics, want to talk about Barton Chapel and Josie. And I want to talk about those because they are two of the three major programs for Phase 7. And we want to talk about where they are and just kind of a refresher or reminder what the scope is for both of those projects. Both of them are starting demo. One's heavily in demo. One is starting as soon as we get a permit. As soon as the demo starts, as some of you have found out with Barton Chapel, the questions start. So Jason, if you could just go back to the first couple of pictures. We'll start and move through these slowly. The first three pics I have are of the practice field for, I think there's one, there you go. There's three pictures for the practice field for ARC. It is absolutely beautiful. It was just finished. They just started practicing on it. But Jason, if you can just run slowly through those three pics, you'll see how beautiful that looks. That's where the track is, okay? So field is done, track is paved, track will be striped at the end of all the completion of both the stadium and the practice field. But it is very nice.
Mr. Baker, I drove by there yesterday on the way home, and they were practicing football.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent. So took a while to get there, but beautiful field, great end product. So the next step will be the stadium, and I think I'll have a little better update for you next month. So jumping into kind of the main mission tonight and to talk about Barton Chapel and Josie, and really it's just to say, let's remember what these projects are about. Let's kind of revisit them for a second. Demo started out at Barton Chapel, and I don't know about you, but I got questions about why we're tearing the school down. Okay, so let's go back 3 or 4 years when all this started. We, as a part of Phase 7, are in fact building a new Barton Chapel Elementary School, Chapel Hills, okay, on the existing site. We just started the project. First step is we got to demo the old building. That's why it's coming down. So you'll see the layout, the site layout of the new Chapel Hills Elementary School, 800 elementary school, 50 plus IUs, instructional units, on 26 acres. There you'll see the little bump outs on the end of the two wings where, like other schools, in case we ever have to address growth, the addition potential is there. A beautiful project. If you go to the next one, Jason, that's the look. It is a prototype, a site adapt of the Richmond Hill Elementary School. Looks similar, although they used different colors and made some changes to it. Next one, Jason. So there's the elevations, much better sense of arrival, much better circulation. It has solar on the site, state-of-the-art school, but it is being built on Barton Chapel School. That's why it's being demoed. So I'm sure like you're getting questions like I have. So where is it? So demo's about done. They've been moving quickly. Sometimes that's not the case. This firm's doing a great job. They're about done, and we'll start into construction pretty soon. And what I showed you earlier is what we're starting on. All right, so that's project number one, kind of an update and a refresher. All right, so second one, Josie. So, all right, so hopefully you can see enough on there for the general discussion that I want to have. All right, so there's the Josie site. To the right, moving from the bottom to the top, is 15th Street. On the bottom is Eagles Way. On the top, a little out of view, is Essie May. All right. So to the left, that lightly shaded area, that's Murphy Middle. Okay. Now to be a key part of the Josie project, it's lightly shaded because it has some work that needs to be done to it. There'll be some renovations to be worked out over the next year or two, to admin, maybe to media center, maybe some adjustment of some of the labs, et cetera. That's why it's lightly shaded. Above Murphy, a little bit to the left, you'll see the middle school gym, which now becomes the second gym for Josie. Okay? Done, complete. There's no color to that on this diagram because there's no work planned to be done to it. All right? Above that, and just partially shown, is the performance gym. No color to that. That stays the same. All right. If you move your eyes from left to right from the new gym across the little bus turnaround area, you see that white area, that white building. That is the Marion Barn Center. Okay. That is white because it doesn't go anywhere. It stays. It remains an integral part of the project. It also, today, is not planned to have any of the pathways changed. All right, so it stays just the way it is on this campus as a part of the new TW Josey College and Career Academy. All right, follow your eyes down a little south as the plan goes. You see lots of color blocks. All right, so that's all our new pathways. So the existing school in all those areas comes down. All the new pathways, health science, the equipment, IT, ag center, early child development, all of that are all placed there, all the same pathways and clusters we've been talking about all along. That center span through the center of all those colors, the commons area, that's something that is a very important part of the design of this project. Kind of ties the whole project together. When people come to visit the College and Career Academy, it becomes a focal point and a way in which people can come and learn about all the different programs and then get into each of the clusters and pathways. So the design of the project, first of all, the overall campus, I wanted us to revisit for all of us to remember the parts that are staying and the parts that are changing. All right, so the main changes are the heavy colored areas. The non-colored areas, they don't change at all. Marion Barnes, for example. All right, the rest of the areas are all the new construction. Very exciting project. The design has been taken to the point where pathways and clusters and blocks and circulation and et cetera have been worked on heavily, and so not much vision yet of what this looks like. There's no elevations yet, but what I do want to do is share with you a vision. It's not a design, it's just the beginning vision of the commons area, which is a key area to the project. Again, what might that look like? The architect has come up with some vision for that area. Again, all that storefront are fronts to the pathways and cluster areas where people can come into that commons area, very inviting, welcoming, and an area in which you can come and view what's going on in the different pathways. Now let's go to the next one. All right, same thing, but same area. It has a mezzanine, okay? It has a mezzanine that ties into some of the areas that gives a better view of what's going on in some of the areas. So beginning of some vision, again, in a key area to the project. Next couple months, we'll have more vision. We'll have some elevations of the outside of the building. We may have some of the areas isolated and a better look at what the design may be. But this is the start, okay? A very exciting project. We've had a lot of fun in the design meetings because everyone's very excited about it. So, because of some of the questions we have had from Barton Chapel, and we will be getting once the demo starts for Josie, just thought we'd revisit that and say, okay, remember this is what we're doing. All right, so Mr. Walker, that's really my update. Again, budget square. The rest of the projects are proceeding on schedule. Construction-wise, and quite a few projects under design, which I'll give updates on as we go.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. We do
Yes,
have
sir.
several questions from the board members. We'll start with Ms. Abbott. Or either one, you can go ahead.
Okay. My concern is, it's been out in the public again. I guess folks don't have nothing to do but put out the wrong information.
Right.
That we were going to actually pick up we were going to actually move the Marion Barnes Center to Hephzibah High School.
It's news
What
to me.
sense that make?
What's what?
That don't make any sense.
It doesn't, no.
Because Mr. Barnes was being honored, that center's being honored because he was the principal there. And we're going to take something that's a big part of Josie and move it to Hephzibah. But for someone to put that information out, it had to come from someone that someone thought was credible.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to right now, today, dispel that myth. The Marion Barnes Center will continue to be on T.W. Josey's land.
That's right.
It's not going to Hephzibah.
And there are no, further than that, there aren't even any changes to the pathways and clusters at this point for the Marion Barnes. It continues on as is.
And we're not, the next myth we need to dispel is that we're not doing a cover-up. So we can really make sure T.W. Josey becomes a failure. That we're doing this to keep the school viable.
Absolutely.
Not to help destroy the school. If you could elaborate, because again, it's out on the street, that we're going to take all of this away from Josie so we can shut it down, but we're spending all this money to fix and create a wonderful environment for our students, which will hopefully lead to industry coming here because
Right.
we're going to have a career-ready workforce.
Right.
Mr. Baker,
Explain about Hephzibah.
that's what I was about to ask.
That's the next thing.
So what, we do have exciting CTAE projects happening on campus at Hephzibah High School and at Westside High School, because we still have to invest in CTAE at every traditional high school. Could you touch on those two?
Sure. So at Hephzibah High School, we're demolishing the existing CTAE area, and we're building a completely new CTAE complex, okay?
Say it again. Say
Okay.
what you're doing
Okay.
again so everybody can hear.
Okay. I'll say it in a little better order. We are going to build a brand new CTAE wing out at Hephzibah High School. And then when we're done, we're going to demolish the existing CTAE and build a new parking area that's needed out at the site. We are building a brand-new CTAE building out at Hephzibah High School.
To replace the old CTAE
Correct.
building.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. And at Westside, to address Dr. Cobb's comment, we're doing the same thing at Westside. You know, we looked at some pictures last month or the month before. So we demolished the existing CTAE wing at Westside. And in its place, and the walls are already up to topping right now, so it is happening. We're rebuilding the CTAE building out at Westside as well. And it is under construction and moving, so not something we're backing up on.
Let me ask you this question. The courses that's going to be, and maybe Dr. Cobb, this is more a you question, a Dr. Cobb question. What's at Hephzibah will probably not be, because I know they have welding there, they have what?
Welding, cosmetology, automotive, FFA, agriculture.
Yes, agriculture. That's not going to take away from what we're trying to do at Josie.
They currently have welding today. They've had historically very successful welding programs. So students at Hephzibah don't traditionally go to the Marion Barnes for welding because they have it right there in their school. So in that one area, they also have welding there. We have welding at other places. Also, RPM has a welding program. So yes, it is going to be a same service, but it's always been that they both had welding pathways. Any student at Hephzibah that wants to participate at the Career Center, when that opens, it'll be open to the entire district. And any student today that wants to go to the Marion Barnes Center to participate in any of those pathways has that ability. So the construction is not changing the programming in any way.
I just hope everyone understands that we're not trying to take away from Josie.
It's a very exciting program that we have going on at Hephzibah High School and at Westside to see how much the board has allowed us to reinvest in workforce development and put our students in proper spaces to be able to do that. It's a very exciting project.
Thank you.
Mr. Baker, could you also go over that again about Josie, Hephzibah, and Westside are all three separate programs? Could you go over that again for us because it all ran together?
Okay. They're all three separate projects, okay? Budgeted separately, scheduled and designed separately. Westside High School has been designed, bid, awarded. The demolition is done. The construction is through slabs being poured and walls being started, many of them topped. At Hephzibah High School, a separate designer, a separate project, a separate budget. The project is probably 80% through design. We're hoping to bid it by the end of the year. Hope to start construction by January-ish, and that depends on permitting and things like that, okay? Maybe a little sooner. But that's a completely separate project. Josie, as I just said, we're 25% into design. When this project gets through with design, we'll start these other programs in the colored areas. But the Marion Barnes Center stays intact through all of this, but separate, if that addressed your question correctly.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Abbott, you still have a question?
I do.
Okay.
I have a couple of them.
All righty.
Sit
And then
back and
we'll-
get ready. All right, Mr. Baker, real quick. Just to clarify the point, I am the District 8 representative. Hephzibah High School is our high school. I am extremely excited about what's happening to our CTAE program. Just like Dr. Cobb said, our welding and our automotive program have been successful for decades, and it's time that they get revamped.
Right.
But it's all different pots of money. Josie's project has no impact on Hephzibah's project.
Correct.
And I think that's where some of the confusion comes in. They're two separate projects. So thank you for clarifying that.
Right.
And I can't wait to start seeing our
It's
design. The question, I have a couple questions. One about, these are just artist renderings, right, from the architect?
Yes, and really, let me just clarify that. That's the beginnings of a vision.
Right.
You know, just some thoughts.
So my question is when we're designing this, because I'm looking at this through my teacher eyes,
Right.
when we're designing this, is our public safety officers a part of this? Are they able to look at it and say this might be a dangerous, or if we have to come into the building, like this would be an issue? Like, are they able to provide any input in that?
So two things. One is there are standards set up for all of the entranceways for all of the RCBOE schools. It's actually updated on a regular basis based on current market issues and recommendations from either RCBOE safety or others, all right? But there's a current standard that will be applied. They also will review the documents prior to them being acceptable to go out to bid, offer any comments, adjustments that may be necessary. They do that on all the projects.
Okay, I just want to, I know that there's been, when we're looking at some of these older buildings, I know I've heard things where they say that lockers that are out from the walls versus recessed in the walls can be an issue and things. So I just want to make sure there's input from the people who might have to take
Yeah, and there's never enough, but we try and get as much input as we can.
Right, okay, perfect. And then my other question might actually have to be answered by Mr. Todd. I know a few months back we approved new marquees for some of the schools, and I haven't seen them put up, so I'm just curious how much longer that's going to take.
It's an order issue.
So they're back ordered? Okay. All right, do we have like maybe sort of a timeline-ish? I appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Todd.
Can I add one thing while she was talking about this?
Sure.
Do you see those set of stairs there? I want to kind of tell you a little bit. One of the board, your ask was that you wanted us to design this place so it could also be a field trip destination. So as we've been designing it, we are also doing a lot of planning to make sure that our 8th graders, when they come over for their experience here at the Career Center, that we have planned a lot of really cool opportunities for them. So those learning stairs are built through here as a part of the field trip part. Whenever they're in their tour groups and they step up on the stair to kind of look into the learning labs. So as you're looking at some of the spaces, remember it's for the students there in the space, for our students who come in the evenings, as well as our 8th grade field trip destination.
So I guess it's safe to say, when this school, the new TW Josie is built, this is going to be the premier spot on 15th Street.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be basically the premier spot when it comes to our high schools.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Stovall?
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Baker.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, your name slipped. I was
All
going to
right.
say Bob Barker. You kind of look like
I answered anything. You keep going.
A couple of months back, we received an email from the firm that's handling the demolition on Barton Chapel.
Okay.
And they talked about a detour. It was dealing with the bus routes having to change in that area. And so the detour that was set up, I know in one part of the email, I was looking for the email today, it said it may hold up progress in moving forward with the project. The demolition that you showed us, is this project anywhere behind schedule, or are we ahead of schedule?
In no means is it behind, I would say, because I always like to say it's on schedule. The truth is we're ahead of schedule. There's no problem whatsoever out there with circulation.
And did that affect, that detour, did it affect our school's bus routes in any way? And would we expect any more detours in that area during the building process?
Okay, I'll let someone else address the bus route issue. I wouldn't be up to speed on that, but what I would say is I just can't imagine detour routes affecting construction like that will be done out at Barton Chapel. It's get the site and the materials, get the bodies and the materials to the site, and then you can work all day. It's like going to the fort. They just have to start 30 minutes early. They know about these things. These guys figured out a way to get there. I can't imagine it would affect it. Now, bus routes, I would have to let someone else comment on.
And here's someone else.
Yes, so not only for Barton Chapel, but also at Garrett Elementary and other places, we have a pretty good relationship with the city, and they will set up meetings with us. They will have their team on site to be able to tell us how they have detours. So specifically to Barton Chapel, we didn't see any specific delays, but as things pop up, I know they're going to widen that road pretty soon. And so they have been in great contact with myself, Mr. Todd, and also our assistant superintendents over those schools are involved. So when we get that information, We are able to discuss needs and also our transportation team. And then the principal's also included to make sure if there are any issues to kind of adjust, and then we get that out through our comms team and through that principal. So specifically to Barton Chapel, not an issue, but moving forward, I think it can be, and we'll make sure we stay on top of those.
Will we be able to also be ahead of letting parents know? Because I did, actually that's what made me kind of discover the email, and I forwarded it to you all, because I had parents to reach out to me like, I don't know which way to go. And sometimes when you're used to traveling the same path, you kind of get thrown off when you have to take an unexpected detour, because according to the parents that spoke to me, they received no notice about the detour. And it was more of, I did realize it was more of a city issue than a school issue, a district issue. But since the city has a great relationship with letting us know where detours are going to happen, can we make sure that we are alerting the parents that are affected by that, like car riders or even walkers to those schools about the detours? Because I imagine if it's dangerous to drive through, it might be dangerous to walk through.
It's a fair assessment. The principal, Dr. Barnes, I'm just using Garrett as an example, they got that information out. And I will say this as respectfully as possible, the information is only as good as the number that we send it to.
Right.
And so in fairness to a lot of our parents, though, as we do this annual update that we continue to talk about, our parents are really engaged. And what we are finding on our end, they do need some support when they get into Infinite Campus. And so we're working with our registrars and counselors at the school to make sure we're providing that support, not only at the school level, but also the district. So yes, that did go out to those parents, but some did not get that because of the gap of what's in Infinite Campus.
Yes, sir, understandable, totally understandable. And how soon does the city decide that a detour is going to happen, that they alert us to it? Like, is it, hey, next week is it a 1 week thing, or do we have enough time from the time that they decide a detour? Because I was very surprised that it came from the firm, that I got that email from the firm itself.
Yeah, I will say for the Barton Chapel area, we had good lead time on that one. For the Garrett area, not as much. But I will say that once we identified that it was an issue, they had all hands on deck to kind of meet with us. So we need more lead time at certain spaces, but they do let us know. So I would say Garrett, it was probably a week and a half before school started, which is not enough time. Barton Chapel, we had a few months, so it varied.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from Mr. Baker? All right, Ms. Baker, thank you very much, and that will end the building committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Now we're going to go over to the Finance Committee. We're going to turn that over back to you again, Mr. Walker.
I got it. Call Mr. Smith up for our monthly financial reports.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
On our monthly financial report, we will start with our statement of income, expenditures, and encumbrances. This will be for the 1 month ending July 31st, 2026. So for our first month of the fiscal year, total revenues were $21,358,000. Total expenditures were just under $15 million at $14,998,000. So our revenues did exceed our expenditures for the first month by $6,359,000. Next report we'll cover is our cash and investments. So as of January 31st, total amount in our cash accounts, checking accounts, was $22,954,000. Total amount held within our investment accounts was $331,482,000. So we had a total of cash and investments of $354,436,000. And of that, $82.4 million is restricted as noted in the bottom of the report. Next up, our change in our fund balance. Since this is for the first month of the year, the revenue expenses were just for the month of July, but our estimated fund balance end of July is $72,157,000. Next, our interest earnings, Georgia Fund 1, we got $141,472, so we did see a slight decrease in our interest rates, so it's at 3.67% for July. Next up, our sales tax collections. So we collected $4,868,000. This was a slight decrease over last July of 2.95%. It was down $148,421. Our total of alarm, we actually saw an increase over last July of $61,786. Total collected was $1,020,000, and that was a 6.447% increase over last July. And that will conclude the monthly financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Are there any questions or comments from anyone concerning those? All right, we'll move on to our next agenda item, and that is the approval of the August 2026 budget amendments. Again, Mr. Smith.
All right, thank you so much. So budget amendment, most of these items are made up of grants or budget amendments. So the way we do that is our initial budget, we kind of estimate what we're going to receive in grants, and then once we actually get the award for the year, then we true it up. So most of these amendments you see where we're truing up our grants to the actual amount. The only thing that impacts the general fund is the very last item listed on there, and that's related to maintenance. So we had budgeted for portable classrooms at Blythe. Our budget was $573,000, and we ended up, the cost has become higher than we anticipated. We did have a bid opening last week, so our site and utility work bid come in at $536,279. So that was much higher than we anticipated. So we're going to bring a budget amendment of $286,000 increase. That'll get us our total cost for the project, $859,000 for that. Now, the way we want to fund that is we would like to do a transfer from our employee benefit fund. Now, this is a fund that we use to hold proceeds from the sale of surplus property from prior years. So all that money is sitting on there, which it's always on our cash and investment report on that. So as of July, that fund had $1,720,000 in it. So we recommend to transfer $286,000 from that fund over to the general fund to cover the cost of the portables at Blythe. So that is our budget amendments for July, and bring those for approval.
All right, I see a couple questions from the board. Ms. Abbott, we'll start with you, and then Ms. Stovall will come to you. And
Yeah, real quick, and this might be Dr. Cobb. Thank you for the portable. I know that they appreciate it, and I know that they really needed it because they were maxed out in that building. But I do have a question. All right, help me read this.
Yep.
So we budgeted $1 million.
That was the prior year budget.
Oh, that was the prior year
Last year, we
budget.
budgeted $1,092,000 for portables, and we ended up not putting any portables in. So that ended up being a budget savings last year because we didn't spend it.
All right, so that makes more sense.
Yeah,
Thank
so that
you.
was prior year, and then this year, the initial budget is that second column,
Right.
which was $573,000.
And then we went over by 286.
Correct. We're projected to go over.
Was that because of having to add an additional portable, or is that because the property itself needed, I know it
Yeah, it
needed
was
some-
the site and utility work piece on that. We did bid that, and that came in a lot higher than anticipated for that, and we did not anticipate that much. So we actually don't have the bid on the agenda tonight because we needed to get the budget amendment approved first.
Okay.
And our plan is next week at the full board, we'll bring the actual bid for approval if we can get approval to increase the budget.
Okay, perfect. So it was the site situation. So what I would like to say for my fellow board members, I don't know how many of y'all have been out to Blythe Elementary. It's a 50-year-old school, has a flat roof, it leaks in every possible corner that it can, but it is a sweet, high-achieving school that is necessary. We have a lot of kids who come out from that. We have a very high Hispanic population out there. But the way the site is, it has a lot of property. It's a pretty big landmass, but the property actually slopes towards the school. So we have a lot of rainwater. When we had that really nasty drought on Thursday, we actually had to order, Mr. Todd, maybe 250 sandbags, I think is what Ms. Henley ordered, to block the water that actually seeps in through the bottom of the doorways into the building. So the reason why I'm saying this is the property is not in great shape. I know we're going to be asking for E-Splosh, pretty soon when we go up for votes for that. I just want you to consider Blythe Elementary and the needs that we need out in that very old 50-year-old building.
all right, Ms. Stovall, and then Ms. Braswell, then Ms. Valentine.
Mr. Smith, you probably tired of me, because every time I see this grant, I ask for a reminder. I spent my weekend trying to find my old notes about it, but can you remind me what the hygiene products grant is about?
Yes, that is feminine hygiene products. So the state does give us money to help provide those feminine hygiene products to young girls who need that.
Are they sent to every school?
Yes.
Through the nurses.
Okay.
Yeah, they go through our student services department.
Okay,
We'll
all
help
right.
distribute those out.
I thought so, but for whatever reason, this is the one that just doesn't stick with me. blame it on menopause, I guess. But this is the one that doesn't stick with me, and so I just wanted to make sure that I still had it in my right mind of what it was. But thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Mr. Bradley?
Mr. Smith, my question is, how many portables we're putting at Blythe?
Yeah, 4 classrooms.
At 586,000 and then an additional 200+ thousand?
That is correct.
Okay.
Anything else? Mr. Valentine?
And my question is in regards to the employee benefit fund. Can you explain how that choice was made or that decision? Because sometimes when we make changes or there's changes that increase, individuals start to think, oh, we're just spending money any type of way. There's no oversight. Can you explain why that choice was made?
Why we chose to use that fund? Yeah, so those funds are proceeds from excess properties or surplus properties. So there's really not when we got it, there was not a specific need for that. So we put it to the side in this fund so as needs come up, whether it's, this need or if there's other, needs for increasing employee benefits, whether it be PSERS employees or whatever it may be, that we basically, it's a way to kind of hold on to the money and not spend it. So if we would have leave it in the general fund, it basically gets absorbed and it's not there when needs come up. So that's why we chose, when we initially got it, just to kind of stick it to the side. As these extra needs come up, we'll have the money still available.
Thank you, because it's important that, our teachers, as well as, our public-facing community understand that we do have oversight.
Right.
And that it's not taking away from what's available to our employees.
Correct.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Sorry, I was having a side conversation. All right, so we were seeking approval here during the committee meeting for Mr. Smith's approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have moved by Ms. Kane, seconded by Mr. Larry.
Nope.
All those on the committee in favor?
No.
Ms.
Stovall.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Stovall and Mr. Larry. I'm sure Charlotte was paying more attention than I was. We have a first and a second. Can I get a vote on all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that will move to our consent agenda, and as Mr. Smith said, we will have a vote on the board meeting for the actual, now that we have that, we can move forward with the next vote on that.
Correct.
All right, so the next agenda item is the bid for RFP 26-2008, Pest Control Services. Mr. Smith.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so we are bringing a bid to you for pest control services. Now, in the past, we've had a full-time employee that was employed to do those services. We no longer have that employee, and we're having trouble finding a replacement employee. So we're going to reallocate those funds and actually outsource it to a third party for this. So we sent out bids, and we had 6 bidders submit bids, and our evaluation team came back with a recommendation of Orkin. It was located here in Augusta, was their recommendation based on the evaluation. So we are bringing this for approval to award the pest control services to Orkin.
Move to approve.
Got a motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, have a motion from Mr. Hannah and a second from Mr. Lowry. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Well, the motion
Orkin
will...
is terrible.
Huh?
She asked, why did I oppose? I said, Orkin is terrible.
Oh, I didn't know it was opposing.
Oh, yeah.
That's not really relevant right now. She can oppose it if she'd like.
Yeah, that was the reason why I voted no, though. That was my personal, that was the reason why I voted no.
All right, well, that will pass and move to our consent agenda as well. Our final agenda item this evening is bid RFP 26-2005 school safety uniforms. Mr. Smith.
All right, thank you so much. This is our bid
I'm
for...
sorry, Mr. Smith, really quick,
Yes.
let me just, it goes to finance, not the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. It will go to finance. You're correct. That was my mistake.
Okay. All right, so our school safety bid for our school safety uniforms, we did have 5 bidders submit bids. And with that, and the way we evaluated those bids is all the vendors did not bid on all the items. So any item that all the vendors didn't bid on, we excluded from the calculation to try to determine a cost for that. And they've also determined the cost based on our estimated usage. So we looked at what we spent what uniforms we purchased last year, quantity-wise, apply that to the new prices. And upon that, our low bidder was North American Fire Equipment Company out of Decatur, Alabama. And the estimated cost here was based on last year's usage, which was $64,787. Now, we do purchase these as needed, so we do recommend the award go to North American Fire Equipment Company in Decatur, Alabama for our school safety uniforms.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Stovall and a second by Mr. Larry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we'll also go to finance. One quick question on that. Is there a time of the year that we are providing uniform material that's a higher, or does it spike before the school year starts? Is it can we project what that is? Because you said we don't spend the money all at one time.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly the purchase on that, but I'm sure once they hire someone, that is when they would purchase their uniforms when they're initially hired for that, and then replacements as needed.
So that dollar amount lasts for 1 year, or is it for?
Yes, that's based on what they purchased last year for that, was the estimated annual cost.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Smith. That concludes the Finance Committee report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walker. We're going to move on to the Human Resources Committee. We're going to turn that over to you, Ms. Kane.
The Human Resources Committee will come to order. We will now have approval of the monthly superintendent's personnel recommendation. Dr. Shepherd.
Thank you, Ms. Kane. I'm asking for approval for the monthly superintendent's recommendation list.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Stovall, second by Mr. Lowry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will now have approval of policy GARH, employee leave and absences, to sit for 30 days. It's going to sit for 30 days for the public comment. Ms. Fletcher.
Thank you, Ms. Kane, committee members, board members, and Dr. Cobb. This year, our legislature passed 2 bills that specifically benefit public school system employees and their benefits. The first one, Senate Bill 148, increased the number of accumulated sick days that employees can use as professional or personal leave days from 3 to 5. And an employee must have those days accumulated, so they're not adding any days. You've got to have those days in the bank. But if you do, you can choose to use up to 5 and not just 3. And the next bill that benefited employees' benefits was House Bill 1118, which created an entirely new type of leave entitled maternal birth leave. And that type of leave is provided to an eligible employee, so it has to be a full-time employee who's been with us for at least 6 continuous months. And this leave can be taken by an individual who has given birth, and it's the 3-week period immediately following the birth. So it must, if y'all will remember a couple years ago, the legislature created paid parental leave, which either parent can take. But this leave must precede that, so it has to come first, those first 3 weeks after birth. And any unused birth leave has no cash value when the employee leaves. And if a paid state holiday falls within those 3 weeks, then the employee just receives the pay for the holiday. They can't tack on an extra day after that. And employees are required to provide some type of documentation from their doctor. And then we have to give employees notice of that, which it's already in the handbook. So those 2 changes are really, thank you, Jason, if you wanted to scroll down for the maternal leave. And there you can see the maternal birth leave portion. So we bring this change, these revisions to you tonight, and ask for the proposed revisions to sit for 30 days for public review.
We have a question from Ms. Abbott.
Hey, Ms. Fletcher. Okay, so thinking back to a long time ago when I gave birth, I think I got 6 weeks, but they weren't paid 6 weeks, correct? So here in our county, so if I were to give birth again, 3 weeks of it will be paid, is that what you're saying? And then you can take an additional 3 to have 6 weeks at home, or how is that gonna work?
So an additional 3 weeks of paid parental leave. So the mom can take the first 3 weeks for maternal, and then the next 3 weeks for paid parental leave. And then if she has any other built-up leave, accumulated, she can use that as well. And y'all stop me if I've said anything crazy, but.
Okay, so So ultimately, you could get 6 weeks of paid leave.
That's right.
If you, okay, well, thank you.
It's a great benefit for our
What was that in
for our
2010?
employees.
And then, like you said, any extra, and then any father can take 3 weeks.
The paid parental leave, yes.
And then does this have any bearing if someone were to, because I know there's new laws now about adopting and/or surrogacies and things like that. Does that fall under this as well?
Not maternal
No.
birth leave, but under paid parental leave, yes.
Paid parental part.
Yes,
Okay,
this one you
all
have to physically have given birth.
Okay, all right, sweet.
So it don't cover the fathers, we help too.
Not maternal birth leave, but the paid parental leave does.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I know, sorry.
Who you getting pregnant?
You ain't do any work. You ain't do any work.
Sorry.
We have to be up at night too with the
Yeah,
children, so.
that's true.
We want a
That is
day off too.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
The legislators will hear your cry, Mr.
No,
Larry.
we want you to go back to work so we can have some time.
I know.
Okay, so this policy will sit for 30 days for public comment. I wanted to make one correction. Thank you, Ms. Fletcher.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess there's no more questions.
No, I had a question.
Oh, go ahead. Ms.
So
Fletcher.
glancing through this, was just looking through it, I know you sent it to us to look at the new stuff, but under religious leave, there was a portion in it that talked about folks may take unpaid leave of absences for any religious observance that's recognized. Is there a set of guidelines that recognize certain religious beliefs? And is it only unpaid leave? If I have leave set up, can I choose to take that as well to receive my pay?
You can take at least 5 days of personal leave. For one, I think that's one of the beauties of raising that from 3 to 5, is with personal leave, you don't have to explain to your employer why you're taking it. You just have to say it's personal leave. As far as guidelines, I do not know that we have any written guidelines. And I think we try to honor employees' requests on a case-by-case basis. And if an employee comes, with a legitimate religious reason, we're not going to deny them.
Okay. I saw that, just that little paragraph. It had me confused. I don't know if we should look at that point. I know we're putting the whole thing up to sit for 30 days because of the new features that's been added, but that was the part that caught my eye when reading through it, that it specifically said that the person will take unpaid. It didn't say whether or not if they had leave accrued that they could take that, but it just said they would have to take an unpaid leave of absence for any religious observances. And so I don't know if that's something we should look at, of maybe editing the wording in that, or even if there's any guidelines for the state, because I know we're following state laws, or maybe if there's some guidelines that we could look at from the state of what counts as a religious observance, just so that we can have our I's crossed and our T's dotted.
Absolutely. We want our policies to be crystal clear. So if it didn't read that way to you, we will definitely take a look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to go back real quickly and say all members of the Personnel Committee are present except for Ms. Boyd. And that ends the...
No, we didn't take the vote.
And then let me go back one more time. And we'll take, can I get a motion for approval of policy GARH, employee leave and absence to sit for 30 days?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Ms. Stovall, I wanted to ask, did you want that part that you made the suggestion added?
No,
Or
we
just
can come back.
leave
That would have to be a separate one because I'm asking for something totally different to be looked at. She's bringing this with the new part from the state. So what I'm asking for is not any law or anything, just looking at if it needs to be worded. And maybe that's something we can look at in a work session.
I just want to make sure we didn't
No,
just overlook
no
it.
ma'am.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That ends the Personnel Committee.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kane. We're going to turn this over into the Instruction Committee. Mr. Walker, we're going to talk to you again.
My pleasure. We have two agenda items this afternoon. The first is information only, and that is instructional resource and textbook adoption timeline. And we're going to have Dr. Welch and Ms. Ponder come to the stage for us. Take it away.
Thank you. Board Chair Stovall,
Superintendent Cobb, board members. It's our annual opportunity to bring to you the instructional resource process. Myself and Ms. Ponder will share with you the adoption project as we continue to go through it. Next slide. As you're aware, this is an opportunity for us to carry out our vision and our mission. Just as a reminder, our mission is to ensure that we empower every learner every day. In order to do that, we want to make sure that we provide the necessary materials. Ms. Ponder will go through the instructional resource and textbook adoption cycle. Next slide.
This year, we are in year 6 of our textbook adoption process. You will notice that we are implementing the resources that were adopted last school year. That includes Fine Arts K-12 in selected areas, Social Studies K-5, and CTAE 612 in selected areas. Our teachers are receiving ongoing professional learning and support with implementation of those resources. We come before you today to share that we are in our adoption cycle time, and we will be adopting this school year, reviewing resources for the following areas: CTAE 6 through 12 selected areas, Fine Arts K-5, Visual Arts for selected courses, and Mathematics K-5. As always, we will continuously be in review of the legislation that comes down to us from the Georgia Department of Education, and our committee members will keep that information abreast as we are reviewing resources to ensure that we select resources that are part of the high-quality instructional materials list. Next slide. This is our adoption timeline. You will notice that we are in the month of August. During the month of August, we present the adoption process to the board members, and yearly we invite our board members and committee members to participate in the process. During this process, we will be vetting resources. We will review multiple resources that are aligned to the standards. During the months of September through December, our publishers will present information to our team members and will collect stakeholder feedback. In January, we'll come back before you with our findings to request board approval of selected materials. February through May, we will purchase those materials. We will also have meetings with our textbook and instructional resource vendors to ensure that we have our resources in a timely manner, and we'll plan professional learning for our teachers that will take place during June and July. During the month of August, we'll begin our implementation when the school year begins, and we will provide ongoing supports. Next slide. During the months, this month, August and also September, our schools are in the process of their annual giveaway and disposal process. We're excited about this opportunity. We invite our community members into our schools to select resources that are no longer a part of our adoption process. Next slide. I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Welch.
And our next steps provide us an opportunity to engage our community in this process. As you see there in August, we'll begin to contact the publishers and then provide an opportunity for us to begin to solicit the opportunity for individuals to join our committee. As you know, in the past, we've had members of our committee who were school leaders, teachers, parents, district leaders, and partners in the community. So when you see that on our website, please engage in the process. Remember, this is a collaborative effort. And thank you all for board members who've been a part of that process as well. As you know, in August through September, we'll move forward and we'll have our school giveaway event, as Ms. Ponder has already indicated, and then we'll move to September and December. We'll really get into that process of how we'll do the instructional resource committee meetings. They'll go over the resources, determine what resources are necessary, and then we invite you as board members. I know that Charlotte will provide an opportunity to determine which board members will be a part of that, and we look forward to your engagement in that process. Also, January, that's when we'll bring the information for you, and we'll have the request for board approval and the selection of the materials. That concludes our presentation. Stand for any questions you may have.
Thank y'all. I see Ms. Abbott's hand's up. Would you like to make a comment?
Just one quick, less of a question, more of a statement.
Yes.
Previously there's been questions about us destroying perfectly good textbooks, throwing away textbooks. Ms. Ponder, you might be the best. Can you give us kind of like a breakdown, just super fast, of how we give away textbooks and what our responsibility is to the publisher, because I know we can't just, like we can't give out teachers' editions. Kind of how that process works, so no one thinks that we're deliberately wasting money or something like that.
Yes, this is a process. This is our second year with this process, and it allows us the opportunity to dispose of our instructional resources that are no longer a part of our adoption. These will be resources that are, we talked about the 6-year process, they are no longer a part of the standards alignment, and this is a way in which we remove them from our schools, and we are very mindful, and we provide specific guidance to our schools on which items are a part of the giveaway, but our purpose is to dispose of them. And also, when we started this giveaway, Ms. Boyd was a big piece of this project, ensuring that our community members that have programs that have some of our students as part of them would have access prior to us removing them out of our schools. So we're supporting our community as well.
Thank you, Ms. Bonner, I appreciate that.
Ms. Valentine.
Yes, on slide 5, there was a section that says remove resources from the software. So does that that's separating our textbooks from the software that we're disposing of? Is that what that is?
I'm trying to find the slide you're referring to. Is this slide or
Yeah,
this?
or is that
dumping the program?
Yes, number 2. You see what it says, the
Okay.
school librarian follows protocols to remove resources from the software?
The inventory software.
So
It's like a launchpad, like the books and
What? That's also like archiving anything that's inside of our dashboard. Is that what that is?
Well, I think there's 2 things. So we have, Destiny is a database that we use. We remove it from that database.
Okay.
And then also, if we have any digital copies available that were available online, we want to remove those as well.
Okay, and definitely explaining to everyone what consumable. A lot of individuals don't understand, when we're in the classroom teaching, there are books that we give out, workbooks and different things like that to our students. They are called consumable, but some people don't understand the difference, and those can be thrown away if they have been used, even if we have not used the entire curriculum or workbook.
Great point. Thank you for your comment.
And I think making sure that our teachers understand that if there's anything on your Launchpad dashboard that you do not see, please go to the archive section, because that is where it is located. It has not been deleted. It is not something that you don't have access to. It is very well there.
Thank you. Sounds like a mom who knows that resource very well. Thank you. You are correct.
Anything else? All right, Ms. Bonner, thank you very much. Dr. Welch, you hang out. You got one more to do.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, like Ms. Feisel said, but so the next item on our agenda is information only as well, and that is special education updates, and we would ask Dr. Thomas to come join Dr. Welch at the podium, if she's here. There she is.
Yes. Board President Stovall, Superintendent Dr. Cobb, board members, it's our pleasure to bring you a special education update. This presentation will be done by myself as well as Dr. Thomas. Dr. Thomas has worked very hard in regards to improving our area in special education. As you know, this is an opportunity for us to continue to drill down on our vision statement, empowering every learner every day. And as you know, special education provides the opportunity for our students who have IEP services to provide that every learner, everyday resource. 3 areas that we really want to focus in on here. As you know, student achievement is a major outcome. There are inputs that go into special education services, but we're focused on the outcomes and how our students perform as well. The second thing are stakeholder engagement. You'll hear a theme through that. Really want to celebrate that through Dr. Thomas's and her team's engagement in this process. And then the last thing is talent development. How do we ensure that our teachers and staff have the appropriate skills to match the resources that are needed in alignment with the IEPs. At this time, we'll have Dr. Thomas begin to share with us information about Special Education Department.
Good evening. So I'm real excited to share all the updates for this year, this past year and a couple of years prior. I want to first start with our 3 areas that we're going to focus on. Our role, which is the training and coaching, our purpose, which is compliance, And then our promise to school is always to take time to celebrate. You know, a lot of times we don't always take time to celebrate. Our department's mission is to work collaboratively with all of our stakeholders. Those are our teachers, our parents, our schools, and also our community, so we can build an effective learning environment where our students with disabilities can graduate and become contributing citizens. So right now, as we look at our snapshot for our students, student and teacher snapshot, we have, right now, we're currently serving 4,865 students with IEPs in our 52 schools. Behind them stand approximately 368 special education teachers and approximately 302 paraprofessionals. A question that we get a lot is, what does the district level SPED team actually do? We're system thinkers. We look across all 52 schools to spot patterns, close gaps, and keep programming consistent. We're compliance partners. We keep every school aligned with Individuals and Disabilities Education Act, Georgia rules, and Richmond County school system policies. We are a resource and connector that provides funding, training, and support. And above all, we are advocates. Every decision traces back to one question, and that's what's best for our students. So as we look at our 4 different areas, for students, it's consistent access to free, appropriate public education, which is FAPE, timely evaluations and services that follow them to any Richmond County school system. For teachers, it includes guidance, real answers, and support. For schools, it's a steady partner keeping them confident and prepared through monitoring and audits. And for our district, it's a unified special education program that reflects well on Richmond County school system, and it protects our district. So how do we deliver all of this at one time? And that's our roadmap to success. It's broken down into 3 pillars. Again, it's training and coaching, building staff capacity through professional development and ongoing support, compliance, meeting every IEP timeline, every document, every regulatory standard, and celebrations. We have to recognize our student growth, our staff wins, and program milestones along the way. So as we review the 3 pillars, I want to highlight both our pillars 1 and 2 simultaneously, and that is our training and coaching and compliance. This summer we ran several summer trainings. We started with our autism and behavior support teachers. We did 3 days of training. We also trained our program specialists, 3 days of training for them. And then we trained our behavior coaches, which consisted of 2 days. Our team partnered with Georgia State University, who trained our autism and behavior support teachers, our program specialists, and our behavior coaches. We also had Georgia Department of Education specialized trainer to come and train our program specialists. I'm excited to say our launch therapy continued to work with our behavior coaches. They trained our behavior coaches and our program specialists. And then our last great training that we had, all of our behavior coaches trained all of our bus drivers, and they trained all of our special education bus drivers and monitors with mindset training. And we have ongoing training this year, every other month, for any new bus drivers that come on so they can continue to get that training. We also, furthermore, I want to add our professional learning that we had for July 30th. We trained all of our special education teachers, and we invited all of our paraprofessionals to come in, and we also trained them, and we had approximately 300 paraprofessionals to show up, and they were excited. When they left, they were really excited about the training, and we focused on mindset training to prepare them for de-escalation strategies if a challenge or some type of misbehavior occur. And the last thing, we also have job-embedded training throughout the school year with intensive progress monitoring and support. So now it's time to celebrate. We believe in celebrating in our department. That was one of our areas when we first started. as a team, you know, we wanted to continue how to figure out how to build that staff morale, and I think we are really well on our way. The one thing I want to celebrate is that we have the number of face-to-face speech language pathologists have increased. When we first started in 24-25 school year, we started with only 8 face-to-face therapists. But now we have 21 face-to-face therapists and 19 virtual, so the number has flipped. And so we're continuing to grow with our partnership and our pipeline that you introduced us to with Augusta State University. Right now, we currently have students in place now to start their internship this year. We also want to celebrate our 5 federally identified schools with TSI. That was the federal identified list from this past year. Barton Chapel, Garrett, Montesano, Tut, and Richmond Hill Middle School, they all came off the TSI list. So we're super excited about, yeah, let's celebrate. We're super excited. These schools were identified and exited by showing growth in the special education subgroup. We reviewed policy and practices with every teacher on the July 30th PL Day. We tightened our progress monitoring and IEP processes, and we built a full year at-a-glance training calendar so nothing catches us by surprise. In addition, I'm excited to say even for our department, we have 99% of our staff members filled, and we just had to add another staff member due to our a new student we just got in for interpreters. So that's the area we're looking at now. As we continue with our celebrations, we grew the number of autism classrooms across the district. We lowered the number of students for each class. That was the plan. We lowered the number of students for each class. And it also will allow us, by us lowering the number of students, we were able to place them at their zone schools, which of course will help our transportation. So they're stationed at the zone schools. But right now, we'll say even with us having a focus to increase the number of classes per school, we still have a lot of students that we are having to serve in the area of autism. So we're working out a plan, a contingency plan for our students. We kicked the school year off with team building activities for our special education department. We met at the transportation department. As you see, there's a picture here. We had so much fun, just taking the time out to give them an opportunity to get to know each other, the entire staff. So that was a great opportunity. And the other cool thing I want to mention is that we only have right now, well, as of last week, approximately 7 special education vacancies remaining at the school level. And so we've been working with our HR team. Now that's certified and provisional, but we have been working with our HR team to partner with them as they continue to work with them in getting their certification. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to our transportation department. I don't know, we haven't been getting a lot of calls, and I'm hoping you all have the same sentiment, but I can say this whole year we've been meeting with transportation every week. And the idea for us to meet weekly with that department is to ensure that, we do not have the major issues that we have had in the past. Now, we'll say that, we know that you're going to have some issues. I'm not saying that, but I can say for our department, we have not received as many calls as we have had in the past years. And I think that goes out to the transportation department. They've done an awesome job with helping us with that. So, the one other thing I want to celebrate is our 3-year participation and satisfaction trend with our Godot parent surveys. And this is a required survey that they ask for us to track every year to get parents' response on how, their perception of our department. And looking at the last 3 years, starting in 2024, we have 65 parents responded, and we had satisfaction parent survey score of 87.6%. If you look at 2025, participation grew to 313 parents, and our satisfaction score improved to 88.67%. So now, if you look at this year, we increased the number of participants to 560 parents, and that's 9 times as, more than the very first year in 2024. And our satisfaction score has climbed to 90.93%. So what does that mean? That means that more parents are engaged, more of them are telling us what we're getting right and those things that we do need to improve on. And we are being intentional with our work and support. So now we know that we have a ways to go with our department, but I do want to take this opportunity to shine for our department and for our schools for their hard work and diligence. So as we look at this year's report, you will see the parent survey score of 90.93. This score belongs to every teacher, paraprofessional, staff member, and also our department. We do recognize that there are some areas that we still need to continue to improve, and we are going to continue to work on those areas. In fact, there was one particular area that scored the lowest, and that was 87.93%, and our team has already met with Vocational Rehabilitation Center, and we've already developed a plan for post-secondary options. So behind every number tonight is a face, and I know many of you remember this particular day. This is our Special Olympics, where many of you came to support. And I also like to highlight my admin team, who is constantly working with our teachers, our specialists, our support staff in the buildings, the schools, and in the community to ensure we get the work done every day to empower every learner every day. Thank you.
Dr. Thomas, thank you. That was a very nice report. Is there any comments or anyone Ms. Abbott?
Real quick, Dr. Thomas, thank you so much for adding in, well, thank you for the information, for one. I know that's a lot to put that report together, but including the special ed teachers with their paras in the training, I've heard some feedback. That's really important. I think it's important for them to get that training, but also for them to team bond with their lead teacher. As a former inclusion teacher, anytime I had time to plan, prep, prepare, do anything with my inclusion teacher, it just helped so much. So I think that's phenomenal. I hope we continue to pursue that. I also love the fact that y'all added in bus drivers into that. That's the bus drivers, primo, chef's kiss, because they don't, honestly, I wouldn't have thought about, but they interact with our children for a good portion of the day. So I think that's wonderful too. I do want to make sure, I think there was one more thing. I do want to make sure that as we work through the speech and pathology with the internships and stuff, I want to make sure we kind of streamline them getting into the buildings. I know there might have been a couple hiccups with maybe fingerprinting or something, so I want to make sure we streamline that as much as possible, make sure they get placed, but I'm super excited, and I hope that is working out.
Yes, we have two this first semester and five.
The next semester, I'm so excited. And they actually at the AU kickoff yesterday, they talked about the new speech and language program. That was super exciting. The only thing I just want to touch base on is, I know with the behavior coaches and stuff, I want to make sure that when they're coming in and doing like mentoring or kind of boots on the ground helping, I want to make sure that it's less talking to and maybe more modeling and things like that in the classroom to really hold those teachers' hands and not that the teachers don't know what they're doing, but sometimes you just show me.
And that's one of our big pieces this year, That's one of our big pieces this year, training and coaching. We're providing the training, but also how are we coaching our teachers? So not just for our program specialists, our instructional coaches, but also our behavior coaches, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to coach. And how we become proactive so we can be preventive. And hopefully the idea of coaching and being preventive, we won't have the behavior issues that we sometimes have.
Teaching sample lessons, kind of leading the class for 15, 20, stuff like that.
Yes, ma'am.
It was important to me, so I know important to other kids. But thank you for
You're
all
welcome.
your hard work.
And I will say, you mentioned about the paraprofessionals. We do have the paraprofessionals coming for our 2 district-wide PO days, so they'll be coming to get that training as well.
And I love that. Thank you. I really do think that's important, especially in the special ed program.
All right, thank you. Ms. Valentine and Ms. Kane.
Dr. Thomas, first of all, I want to say thank you for
Ms.
all the
Kane,
hard
then Ms.
work that
Valentine.
you have put into it. And I think it's awesome that we actually started the year with just 7 vacancies. That's big, because for many years, we have been well above 7. So that lets me know that you have put a lot of work into making sure those positions are filled. And I think Ms. Abbott calculated the numbers, that's like 13 students per teacher. So that really gives the teacher and the parapro enough time to spend a lot of one-on-one time with those students to help get them to where they need to be. Back many moons ago, that's the way it was, where these kids had low classrooms, they had a parapro, so by the time you broke it down, these kids were actually getting individual attention, and we saw our numbers and our test scores a lot better. So I just wanted to take the time to tell you, thank you for your hard work and getting this department moving in the right direction. And then I want to say thank you to Ms. Abbott for her connection at AU that helped us get the speech pathologist, and with them to get what we need. And I think that's commendable for her, because that's what a board member should be doing if they have those connections, linking us up with the people in the community that can help us move forward. So thank you.
And I will say, and I didn't mention this, but we do have our advocates. We have a very strong advocate committee, if you will, that we meet with them. Last year we met every month. And so those are our community advocates, and they've been a great support as well. And so by meeting with them, it's not them against us, but it's a partnership. So they're the boots on the ground. They can kind of tell us what they're hearing in the community to figure out, okay, what are these things that, what's going on? How can we support, or what information that they can take back to the community. So that's another area as well.
I love that. Thank you.
Ms. Valentine.
Yes, and I was just going to say, with the school year starting, just like our faculty and staff are out there learning, we want to encourage our parents to continue looking at our website at the procedural safeguards. No one documents better than a parent that has a child in our special needs program. They're going to ask the questions, but also letting families know that if you have specific questions pertaining to certification or your child's records, there are only certain things that your school level administrators can provide to you. There are other things that have to come directly from a designee or our special education department, and they need to really be directed who they should be talking to when they're making specific requests, but also knowing that we still are implementing Child Find. We're committed to locating and evaluating all students, and I just want to say thank you to the department for making sure that our students with special needs have access to ESY, and the great coaches that we're supporting during the summer school. So thank you very much.
Mr. Lowry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Dr. Thomas. Dr. Thomas, on last year, we received a lot of emails and concerns from parents and others, and I'm so glad you were able to address a lot of those concerns in your presentation. We just want to say thank you so much.
Ms. Braswell.
Mary Jane, I would like to thank you for your connection with AU and getting it connected with Dr. Thomas. Dr. Thomas, bring it back to the mic.
Yes, ma'am. Well, ultimately, they want to just sped it up.
I'm very proud of what you have done over the last 2 years in the special education department. You're not getting the calls, but I'm still getting them, but you busting them out, I promise you. You and your staff are doing very good. However, I have some questions that I think was important.
Yes, ma'am.
How many behavioral coaches we have now, and where exactly are they placed?
We have 8 behavior coaches, and they're placed strategically. They have approximately 5 to 6 schools per behavior coach.
Okay, so last year, because you reminded me, Ms. Barbara, we told y'all that. Last year, you started a different process with the speech pathologist.
Yes.
You say you have 21 now this year?
Face-to-face, yes.
Face-to-face. Where are they and what grade have we reached with that?
Yes, so when we first presented, the goal was to go from preschool to 2nd grade. But last year, we only could go to 1st grade because, of course, the number of pathologists, but then because of the number of elementary students we have that are considered, that have speech. And so this year, we were hoping we can get to maybe 2nd or 3rd grade, but right now, we're still between 1st and 2nd grade because we have so many preschool students that are coming in that need that service. And we did need to standardize it. We standardize it where, we start with the preschool because that's your early intervention grade. And so if you start with preschool, we went as far as we can go. So right now, we're still at 1st grade, 1st grade, and then we work with our low incidence classrooms as well. So as we continue, hopefully by next year, we'll have majority of our staff face-to-face. Our goal is to have all of our students receiving face-to-face because we're going to, I'm going to be honest with you, face-to-face is always better than the virtual, but, we have to support, and we needed to standardize it, meaning we didn't want one school to have K-5 face-to-face, all as, face-to-face support. Then you have another elementary school, K-5, and they had all virtual. And so we can at least say our process is standardized, and we're making sure it's that way across the district.
My last question, so how many virtual coaches are we using right now?
Right now, 19.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, 20. 21, 20, yeah, 20. And I will say, I wanted to say one quick thing, Ms. Valentine, in reference to the parent mentor. We actually have a parent mentor, and we have already scheduled sessions this year for our parents, and so it's on our year of a glance, so we're doing it every quarter. And if we need to, increase that number, we will, but we do have scheduled dates already on our calendar.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Thank you again, Dr. Thomas and Dr. Welch. I appreciate it. And that will end our report for this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Transportation and special ed over the years that I've been on the board has been the one that we hear the most about, that what they're not doing and what people wish would change. I don't think we give enough credit to the work that they've done to address concerns and issues. Every email, especially with transportation, every email that we forward, every parent that we say is having this problem, they answer in a timely manner. And one of the things that I truly appreciate, if they don't have an answer, they don't try to make one up. They'll say, we don't know, we'll work on it, we haven't encountered this. And so on behalf of the board, I want to tell specifically transportation and SPED, thank you for all the hard work. I know people sometimes may come down on you about, because that's the first thing they see in the morning is the buses, the last thing they see, and then our babies with special needs, different needs. We hold them to a little higher level, so thank you for that to both departments, and congratulations on your collaboration in helping each department get better, so kudos to you. Next, we're going to go over to our Student Services Committee, and we're going to turn this over to you, Mr. Hanna.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to call Student Services Committee to order. Everyone is present, and we have 2 items. Dr. Welch, I'm glad you're still up there because it's you again, information only.
Board President Stovall, Superintendent Dr. Cobb, and board members, it's our pleasure to provide you a back-to-school community engagement update. Myself, as well as Mr. Allen, will provide you an update on activities that we've done either in the community or collaboration, internal or external. This has been a great start to a year. As we know, it's a large, complex organization, but our mission is to ensure that we empower every learner every day. And to do that, it takes a true team and collaborative effort. As we go through this presentation today, we will weave in and out of our strategic map. We've touched every component of our strategic map to ensure that we started this school year off with success. As you know, I want to just make sure that we're familiar with our strategic map. So we have student achievement as a focus, we have stakeholder engagement, communication, and then talent development in a safe and secure learning environment. We'll make sure that we touch all 4 of these items throughout our presentation. First thing that I'd like to highlight is the last time that we were up here together, we highlighted an opportunity for our community conversations. And we had over 100 participants join in online live, and we know that we've had more since. So if you haven't viewed this session, it's a great opportunity to do so on YouTube. Our superintendent took the time to entertain questions that came from the community in regards to back to school. It was a great opportunity for our community to engage. We'll continue to have these sessions throughout the year for community engagement. Another item that I'd like to highlight is thank you to our community. I would say for at least 3 weeks straight, we had community engagement from almost every stakeholder. We have people coming out providing book bag drives and food drives and giving haircuts and resources for our community, whether it was in the church or it was a business partner. We just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming out and supporting our children. There are a couple pictures here that I want to highlight. The first one there on the top left is an opportunity where our community really came together to celebrate our students as they entered on the first and second day of school. It was a great opportunity, so thank you for everyone who came out and contributed to that. Our schools took an effort to really connect with their community partners, and they came out to support our students and cheer them on. The second photo there is of Dr. Cobb and our board vice chair, and they had an opportunity to give out book bags. And we thank you for all the senior cabinet members as well as other board members who showed up there for that opportunity to give out book bags and some food. And if I'm not mistaken, Vice Chair, I think I saw you on the grill cooking some food. So we appreciate you all getting back to the community. And the third one to the far right is a flyer from an opportunity that Ms. Braswell, as you see in her district, as well as Dr. Cobb had an opportunity to speak with some of our community members. And that was a great opportunity where the resources provided for our community. And all of these things happen throughout our community throughout this month. And, you know, when we think about what it takes to really support a learner each and every day, we displayed that as a community as a whole. So we just want to say thank you to our community for the support throughout this month and your support throughout the year as we continue to ensure that every learner learns each and every day. So we want to thank you for your support. The system support was there as well. This was an opportunity where our system really came together to support our teachers and our students as they continue to prepare for learning on the initial days of instruction. A couple of photos that I want to highlight there for you, some activities, to highlight some activities. The far left, I don't know if you noticed the person in the picture, that's actually, she's responsible for technology here for the system. That was your chief, hard at work, but at a school. So during the first couple days of school, all of our district staff members were deployed to the local schools. You know, when you think about how a system really ensures that we are attached to what happens, our core business, which is teaching and learning. So all of our staff members were out at the school. There you see in the middle is a picture as well that I want to tell a little quick story about because it connects to the work that you're all doing here in the board. Had a conversation with that teacher there as she was doing lunch duty. This is a new teacher to Richmond County schools. She was excited. It was her first day. She was excited about, welcoming her students to school, but you know what she talked to me about that day? She wanted to say thank you. And she said, I've been in another school system, and I came here, and it's been so welcoming, but I do want to thank you all, whoever you all are, who provided us that $300 for that Amazon gift card. It was such a blessing. So I just want to let you know that I know this was a conversation that started here in this room amongst you all. that it's making a difference and the teachers appreciate it. So I just wanted to say thank you. That is a story of a teacher who was impacted by decisions and resources that you all made, and Dr. Cobb allowed us to execute that. So I just want to say thank you for that. And that's from the mouth of the teacher to you all's ears. And there were several stories of that throughout the system. Another example of system support that you see to the far right, that's actually here in this building. That's outside. That's outside of Davidson, and you see, I don't know if you can see the gentleman who's opening up that door, welcoming our students. You see him, that is a director of fine arts. He spent, as we said, everyone was here on campuses throughout the system supporting the first initial days of school. Remember, at the system, we try to work hard all summer to watch something happen, and it's important that we see how it actually goes into place. So if there are any just-in-time supports that are needed or just-in-time adjustments, we're on the ground ready to make those. So thank you for the system for supporting the first initial days. Another item that I want to highlight here is our academic readiness. There are two things I would like to highlight here. The first thing to the far right is Richmond 101. As you know, our high schoolers have an opportunity to engage in Richmond 101, but this is an opportunity for them to engage in readiness. This provides them an opportunity to learn about what it means to engage in a digital platform, but also what it means to have a growth mindset. We heard a little bit about that earlier in Dr. Thomas's presentation, but our students learn about that as well. The second thing that they learn about in their module here is a code of conduct. Learn about what it means to be a great Richmond student here in our system. And then finally, they learn about what it means to be a great citizen on the technology platform. Teach them about AI, how to engage with that, and it really ensures that they're ready. So that's an initial course that they take. That's for the students. The item to the right are for our staff. That's why you see there to the far left, there are two indicators of student achievement as well as talent development. This is a course that all of our new teachers take, but everyone who's in Richmond County has taken this. So we start off the year where we really provide the foundation of what instruction looks like in Richmond County. So you get the baseline materials and resources of how we go about our instruction here in Richmond County. Community engagement is something that we really made a concerted effort to not only reach out, but have two-way communication in our community. There are way too many examples for me to put on this slide, but I'm just going to highlight a couple. Our media outlets have done a great job publicizing the start of school, what days we were starting, but also showcasing us at different schools. So we want to thank our media outlets for doing that. The first one to the far left is an opportunity where we were on the news, and they had Dr. Cobb on there twice where, she provided an opportunity what school looked like on the initial start day of elementary school as well, or middle and high school. And we just want to say thank you to those who've done that, but also, that was an effort. It was a two-way communication. And then the second one to the right is a newspaper article that you all have seen. We've been in multiple newspapers or media outlets where they highlighted our first days of school. We just want to thank you for that. And continuing with our media, we're going to listen to Mr. Allen, who's going to provide us a little insight on athletics and media.
Thank you, Dr. Welch. I want to also highlight what Dr. Welch talked about when he talked about Richmond 101 and our codes of conduct. I want to make sure you all know that every school last Friday received all of their codes of conduct. We recognize that's a curve that we're trying to turn to make sure on day one that all of our students have those as well. But every school does have their codes of conduct. There were a few that we were working on to make sure we get Spanish out, and so we were pretty close to having that. Continuing with Media Day, and I want to highlight, before I highlight the athletic side, I know we kind of fuss with the media a lot, but I'll be very honest, they have been very supportive of things that we've asked from them to start out the school year, and that comes through relationships. I do want to highlight Ms. Haley LaQuesta because her request to media has definitely been a response, so thank you. Our kids have benefited from that. In addition to highlight, our new athletic director, Coach Kelly, had a vision to really highlight our school year. Anybody that's been involved with schools, if you have a great athletic program, not necessarily wins and losses, but where kids go out and they compete and they represent their school well, then it has a tendency to carry over to the academic side. And so one way that was highlighted this year was Coach Kelly connected with Haley and had our media day at Westside. In their black box theater, And I have a few pictures here. I'll start far to the left. You have a chance to see Laney, their head coach, and then their students had a chance to address, student athletes had a chance to address questions. Coaches kind of helped drive that conversation. You see Josie in the middle. I want to pause and highlight Josie is again alive and well. Their coach is perusing their building, and they are getting kids out, and they are practicing. So, and he is as committed as anyone to make sure that that green and gold continues to play on Friday nights, and he's celebrating that. To the far right, you see ARC, and all of our schools are represented. I only could fit 3 on the page. You see their team there. A few things that really came out of the media day, and I had a chance to sit in a college media day. This was very similar, where you have media present, and then you also have questions coming from media outlets, coaches driving those questions, students responding, but a consistent theme through all of those was from the coaches, thank you. Thank you for highlighting our kids. Thank you. This would be the only opportunity they have to get in front of the camera and be able to speak not only about athletics, but also academics. It was a great opportunity for our young people. And so they were really nervous, but they had a chance to show themselves, and they all did a fantastic job. So a huge shout out to our comp team, but also Coach Kelly for celebrating this event, and all of our coaches and students who did a good job of representing the school system that day as well. Next slide, some transportation updates. I want to start by, and I had to make some adjustments on our slides, but we have 8 open routes, very similar to where we were to start the school year, but again, we have 9 people in the pipeline that we're excited about closing those routes as well. I want you all to know that our transportation team, as we were sitting here, I'm texting those guys about our daily arrival on time. We are watching those numbers very closely, and we're providing the right support. So we're excited to continue to close that gap. In transportation, something that's really important, when you see our babies getting on and off buses at elementary schools, you'll see book bag tags. Really important that when students get off the bus, that our bus drivers know that they're getting off at the right spot, and there's someone there for our younger students to be able to be received as well. And so transportation did a really good job of getting those on time. Last year, we had some hiccups with that, so I want to celebrate we got those on time as well. And then I talked about our weekly review of our on-time arrival, and then also working to assist schools and families as they complete the annual update. I do want to pause for a second, right? Any good athlete using our media day knows that the most important thing to being a great athlete is flexibility. It only comes through stretching, right? Anytime you start something new, you have to stretch. And for our district currently, our students, our parents, our registrars at the school, our counselors, transportation staff, as we get all of our parents updated in the system, not just from last year, but where they are now, this is stretching us. But I promise you it's a good stretch because we will be more flexible to be able to handle the different things that will come out as far as information for routing, information for if there's a construction adjustment. And so I appreciate all the calls that you guys are fielding, and then you're getting those to us, and our teams are working through helping parents. One thing that we have found is we got to provide some guidance at the school level and more support to make sure they're asking all those questions to be able to provide the right support to parents as well. This is a step up for support for them, so we want to make sure we provide support from the district. So thank you guys for your support as we work through the annual update. Weapons detection system. I wanted to go back through and just kind of highlight what we did last year, kind of some goals for this year, and making sure we're highlighting what the need is. Again, we don't shy away from there have been some challenges to start the school year out, and nobody wants that. But what we have a responsibility to is when things happen to respond and communicate appropriately, and then making sure that we're prepared as things continue to move forward. Again, all of our comprehensive high schools last year, they had the metal detectors installed, and keep in mind the metal detectors is a static cost, but the individuals to ensure that they're monitored throughout the day is something we have to provide a cost to as well. Our plan is to make sure all of our magnet schools are in place by the end of the semester. That requires the purchasing of metal detectors, that requires training of those individuals, and there's a plan that's communicated to the community. And so we're working through that process, and we'll begin to start, hopefully that in September once we have all of our schools started. And then also our middle schools. We do know that there are challenges there, and so we're working with Ms. Snowberger, those principals, our SRO team to set a schedule for random wanding. And so it'll be something that will happen more often than we've seen in the past, and so it could be a slight disruption to some of our schools, but we feel like that's a really important piece to help provide levels of safety at our middle schools. And at our elementary schools, our SRO team is going to really work with our counselors to talk about see something, say something. right? We want to encourage our parents to really check their book bags as often as possible. And so we're going to put a team together of elementary school principals, the advocacy team that Dr. Thomas talked about. We want to bring those individuals together to talk about what plans can we put in place to support our elementary schools. It may look different than it does at the high school, but they need safety support as well. And so we're working through that currently. All right, cell phones. Same slide as we talked about before school. I do want to highlight that it is a process. But our kids, I'll be honest with you, the challenges that we're having is just communicating, because I will tell you, our kids have responded pretty well first few days. Our schools have been very patient with students, but when they've reached that certain mark, they are following the code of conduct. And so we just want to highlight that schools are requiring students to not have their cell phone on, out, or in use during the school day. So it really should be put away, and nobody should see their cell phone throughout the day. One place that we had a gap that we had to work through, we want to own the communication gap, and I'll own it, because on the bus, we consider bus and bus stops an extension of the classroom. But when it comes to cell phones, we had our transportation team get together, and then we wanted to make sure what can bus drivers truly support while they're driving a bus and dealing with cell phones. So our transportation team worked together, and they came up with these are the things. They don't want to monitor whether a student has a cell phone in their hand, but they are going to respond to it when there is a distraction. So if there's a fight on the bus and the students are up and they're using their phones to record it, they obviously are going to address not only the fight, but then also the use of the cell phone. If the phone is loud and there's music, that's anything that's going to distract the driver will address the cell phone issue. And then also if there's a situation where there's obscene materials on the phone, they're going to address that. And then if the phone is used to distract the driver, something I didn't know, sometimes students will turn on their light on the phone on the bus. And if you have ever had a crack in your windshield, if the sun hits it perfectly, it can distract the driver as well. And so they are addressing those. But if you look at all of those things, those are behavioral issues, not cell phone. And so we're really honing in on the fact that we want the behavior to be right and the cell phone not be a tool to create distraction. Teacher vacancies, this is the same. This has been updated even since this slide was together on Friday. We talked about our SPED vacancies obviously being down, so thank you, Dr. Thomas, and the work that HR is working with you guys. And I kind of went through these. I think middle school is down now to 5 or 6, and so we've seen good movement even since last Friday to get these numbers down. Classified employees, our bus drivers are still remember 9 open routes, but we want to get to 20 so that way we have coverage. And again, we have 9 in the pipeline that we're excited about covering Anno, and we have about 30 in class that we're training also. So we look forward to getting those numbers down. And then this just reiterates kind of what I talked about slides and teachers, but I wanted to stay on the far right and address that our HR team has really been working with all of our third parties, and they're ready to assign anywhere that is needed. Our third parties play a large role in supporting the school system, all the way from custodians all the way up to our teachers. And so that partnership is really important, and our HR team has done a very good job of continuing to work with those third parties. All right, and I will pass it back to Dr. Wood.
All of this great work is to focus on our core business of teaching and learning. So as we begin to continue the opening of school, we focus on continuous improvement. We've seen that as a theme throughout our presentations today. We've had success, but we always want to focus on how can we get better. So I want to use this slide to talk a little bit about continuous improvement. This is an opportunity where we focused on our student achievement from last year. We had some great gains in our early literacy growth, and we want that to continue to be a focus for us this year. So I want you to think about, when you maybe are thinking about losing weight, right? I know, we chuckle. But when you think about losing weight, the first thing you want to do is you want to set a goal. And then after you set a goal, first thing you want to do is you want to get on the scale and weigh yourself to say, where am I currently? So that I can monitor my progress throughout. So this is the beginning of the year. It's time for us to begin to figure out where are our students when they've entered the building. So we're going to have assessments so we can begin to find out where are our students currently, and then throughout the year we'll monitor our progress. Because we want to see if the inputs and the great instruction that's taking place, if it's moving the needle. We don't want to wait to the end of the year for them to take a state assessment. We want to provide that growth throughout the year. So the letter that you see to the far left is an opportunity that's gone out. That letter has gone out to our families, and it's reminding them that there are going to be what we call diagnostic assessments that take place. And in this letter, it provides some helpful tools of things that you can do as a parent to just make sure that you explain and ease the anxiety if there's any for assessment, because this is just really a checkup. We just want to see how are you doing as a baseline opportunity. Also, we've also provided materials that have gone out. I'm going to continue to bring this up. The Community One Guide. It provides helpful resources throughout the year. And inside of here on page number 12, it provides an opportunity where you can take a look at all the assessments that we have, but it definitely goes into the diagnostic opportunities that we have for the beginning of the year. Sometimes we have questions of, tell me a little bit more about that exam or that test, and what does it mean and how are we going to use it? It's explained here as well. We also have that information on our website. Remember, our goal is to make sure that we have over 80% growth. We want our students to grow. And in order to do that, we need to assess where they currently are. So this provides us a great opportunity. Some of those wonderful inputs that we're putting in place instruction-wise to ensure that we're making sure that we have the proper resources to our teachers in the classrooms. As you all know, we'll have literacy coaches in all of our elementary schools. Our HR department has worked very hard to ensure that we have those coaches in place. Some schools have two. But this is an opportunity where K through 3 will have literacy coaches available in all of our elementary schools to provide additional support. And this is all in an effort to help us move forward our profile for a graduate. All these wonderful things that we've discussed here today is to move forward our promise. And our promise here is this profile of a graduate. This is the end result of our core business of teaching and learning. Provides us an opportunity to really talk about what it means to be a graduate here from Richmond County. Once again, you can find all this information provided for you in our Community One Guide. It provides a great opportunity for our community members. If you don't have this guide, you can find it online. You can take a picture of this QR code and scan it. It'll take you to this guide. One of the most important things that I like to say that if you're a parent at home, definitely there's a calendar inside, and it's a nice size calendar. I encourage you, if you don't do anything, open it up to this page, take out that calendar, place it somewhere in your home. And just keep it there, plan for the days that you have off, but also take a look and see what your child might be doing. It's all highlighted there. So there's not one thing you learn from this presentation. Go to this guide, pull out this calendar, place it somewhere in your home. All right. At this time, we stand for any questions or comments that you may have.
Mr. Braswell, Ms. Stovall, Mr. Lowry.
First, I want to start by saying thank you to Dr. Cobb, the senior team, and everybody that pitched in during the school resource dinner. Most of y'all know I was in the hospital, and to my understanding, the event was amazing. And to you and your team, thank you so very much for what you did. I've got nothing but great feedback. They actually want to do it again. So I'll be in the hospital, and I'll let you take it.
Let's talk about that.
Banana pudding.
There you go, I'm in.
But thank you so much, and thank you all for what y'all do. It was good hearing a lot of the stuff that you all had to say.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Stovall.
I just want to say thank you for the guide. The guide has been very helpful to families asking questions about what to expect coming up. But thank you more importantly for the way that you guys show up in the community. Richmond County has gotten such a great feedback of how you guys are all visible. The staff, I've had a couple of parents in my neighborhood say, I didn't even know there were so many people that was up. I thought it was just a superintendent and a few people, but the way you guys show up in a community, that really means a lot to the community, that you are visible, that you're not just some soups, as they called you. But thank you for the way that you all show up. Thank you for the way that you put your hands in the community, on the schools, for every parent, every student, and every situation. And I will have to tell you that Mr. Stovall said the media day rivaled every college media day that he's ever had to cover. It was top quality. It was a play. He stepped away from the desk to go cover this just to get it, and he just came back talking about how amazingly well it was done, and that his staff members were just so pleasantly surprised about how well it was put together and what you offered for the students. So hopefully we can see that again, because that was definitely a winner. So, and Dr. Welch, please find another analogy, because ain't nobody stepping on those scales. If we want to lose weight, we just find a pair of pants and we just keep fitting it, trying to put it on until it fits. Ain't nobody looking at them numbers, so find another analogy.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lowry?
Thank you, Dr. Welch, Mr. Allen. And just like the President said, you got to find another way of doing that. but as we start the school year, let us continue to reach out to the parents. We're starting out with all this information that we're sending out this week. What about in November? What about in February? What about in March and April? Continue on about that cell phone policy, continue on about different transportation department and other areas, where we are. We remember earlier this year when Doc called and said, Ms. Lowry, Mr. Lowry, we may not be able to do the full raises this year for our teachers. And I just constantly said to her and Bobby Smith, where you at, Bobby? You down there sitting now, where you at, Bobby? And I told them, find something. Find something. And she called back, Miss Lowry, guess what? We found something. We are able to give our teachers that $300 Amazon gift card. And I heard nothing but great things from our teachers for being able to see that. And we all voted on that, and that was a great impact. And the teachers feel just as good as they did receive a teacher's raise. So as we continue with a great start, let us continue to publish and to receive information. Give it out to our parents. Let us continue to help them as we move forward with a great school year. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Kane?
Mary Jane disconnected me. First, I want to say, I think everybody knows on the board, I'm really into the sports. I think now I got everybody's T-shirt except for ARC. And I do wear my T-shirts now to the game. And I want to say, as long as I've been on the board, we had never did a media day, which I thought was just totally awesome. And I thought it also gave children who were not involved in sports an opportunity to see that these things are out here for them. And if you don't have a way, or your parents don't have a way for you to go to college, this is a way. It's also not only a way, but it keeps you off the streets and involved. So I want to thank our new athletic director for that, because I know I'll be watching you. I know that we have some schools that, like Butler, they don't have a girls softball team. And that's like, everybody plays softball, whether you're good or not. You do that. I grew up doing sports. Track was mine. Basketball, I'm not no good at. But track, back then, I could run. So I want to thank our new athletic director for thinking out the box and giving these kids who do not participate in sports or who parents don't support them, to give them another outlet to say, hey, this is something else I can do. But I think it goes another step above that. We have many parents whose children want to participate in sports, but we also have them parents that take it upon them to make sure those children that don't have a way home, they go out their way to take those children home to ensure that they can still participate. And I think it's awesome. So I look forward to, I'm gonna just be honest, I'm that person that don't get on the scale but say I'm gonna lose weight, and I go to Laney just for the fish sandwiches. They have the best fish sandwiches, So I'm looking forward to football season, but even more so, I'm really looking forward to basketball season. So thank you all for that media day. It was just totally awesome for me.
And it did also highlight the student part of the athlete. One of the feedback that I overheard Gabriel and his was how well the children spoke. For this to be their first media day, how well they did answering questions. And so I was almost like, were they prepped? Did we get questions ahead of time? But that just really highlighted the student part of student athlete. So it was a great day.
And Ms. Griffin, it also sent out a message, like I said, for them, hey, they were on high school level, but now you can't tell them they wasn't on the NFL level. You know, they were really into this. And every time we can highlight something that our child or our children do that's successful and move on up, hopefully that will catch on to those that say, well, wait a minute, maybe if they can do it, I can do it, and guess what? I can do it better.
Absolutely. I do want to touch on that part. A lot of our football coaches didn't bring the five-star athlete, right? They had the choice. They brought a student who was a great team member, a good leader who showed up to practice, and they did prepare. They took it very seriously, how they looked, being on time, and then the response as well. So, and again, I keep highlighting our athletic director, and Haley did a great job of hosting that, but our kids, man, at the end of the day, we put them in position, and our kids were the highlight of that day, and the coaches allowed that to happen. So, and it is key. I just want to elevate it, that it was about the student piece. Even the reporters did a very good job of not mitigating that part of the conversation. Everything was about student, and then how you support that through athletics.
That's good.
All right. Mr. Allen, Dr. Welch, thank you very much. You are free to exit the stage. Thank you very much, both of you. Our second item is information only, but I'm going to recognize my colleague, Mr. Lowry. Mr. Lowry, you take the lead on that, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This item was brought to us by board member Ms. Braswell. It talks about the visitor attire. In other words, I'm going to get a little more personal where you can understand what I'm saying. Our kids have a certain way that they dress and come to school, and so do you and I. What some of the problem is with our parents. When they bring Johnny and Mary to school in the morning, the shorts too short, the shirts are see-through, and on and on and on and on. So how can our principals address to our parents and making sure that the district support our parents? So at this time, Ms. Braswell, along with Dr. Cobbs, we're going to go through this, and I know every board member would like to have a word or two to say on this. Thank you so much for bringing that to us, Ms. Braswell.
Dr. Cobb? Okay, all right, thank you, just want to make sure. Josie, do you mind opening up the visitor guideline document, and then we're going to start from there. So, yes, board member Braswell brought this to us, and what I committed to is, let me find out the history of when's the last time we talked about visitor dress code and attire guidelines. What are the current guidelines that we have established? And so here's a little bit of what we found. During the 2013 year, the board had a conversation about this, really the same thing. What guidelines can we put in place for visitors when they come on campus? It included attire, but it also included coming on campus using profanity, coming on campus recording students. So the very first instance that we found, and we did a lot of research on this, was in the 2013-2014 school year. We implemented what you see today minus the bottom part called video surveillance. This is a page out of our current code of conduct. And just to help out, under respect, I've highlighted for you, this is what it says. It says visitors are considered role models and are expected to be appropriately and modestly dressed and to display respect for activities and progress at the school. So what school leaders have been doing since the 2013-2014 school year is enforcing what's been approved in our code of conduct, appropriately and modestly dressed. What does that look like? Oftentimes, it may look like private conversations. Hey, mom, dad, let me talk to you about what you have on before you go into the building. We have children here. So this is what we currently have. What we also had during that 2013-2014 school year was our school system sent out, I was a principal at that time, and they sent out a poster-sized copy of these visitor guidelines, and we had them posted right at the front door. If you've been around long enough, that was before you buzzed in. So that's been a minute. It's before every parent brought a cell phone to field day and recorded their child, but has everybody kind of in the background. So these guidelines, and we looked at them, have remained unchanged since 2013-2014. During the 2021 school year, we did not have visitors on campus. You guys may remember that. We were kind of at the height of COVID. We had kids at home, kids in school. But every year, this has been the visitor guideline. The only change that has been made to this guideline so far is this summer when we added, hey parents and visitors, when you are on campus, you are a part of our video surveillance, you will be recorded. So that, I wanted to bring that to you. It has been remained relatively unchanged. I spoke with our legal team, and Mr. Fletcher can certainly answer any questions. Appropriately and modestly dressed, what can be added to that are examples. So we can say, for example, a school may say shirts, shoes required, certain length of dress required. You can provide examples. And one of the things that Ms. Braswell and I had talked about is the need to have that posted. If these are going to be the guidelines for our visitors, it needs to be posted. So Jason, my part's going to wrap up, and I'm going to hand it over to the board for discussion. We just went ahead and asked our communications team to just first draft, what would a poster look like with our current guidelines? So we'll pull that up for you to be able to see. I don't want to stress a sample for what we currently have. And it's coming. So what we would like to do is open up in a few moments really discussion amongst the board to see if there are any changes that you want to make to those visitor guidelines. Ms. Braswell, I'm going to hand it over to you because I know you wanted to lead some of that discussion. And then we'll hopefully get that poster shared to you, but you understand, it's in our school colors, it's in our branding kit, and I want to just kind of say branding matters. This past last Wednesday on the first, or Thursday, whatever the first day was at elementary, I was passing out stickers, and a kid said, I'm going to put this on my computer because these are the same colors and symbols as my computer screen. And he didn't know he was saying it, but he's saying I recognize branding. So what's important to us is whatever it is that the board does want us to enforce, we are happy to do that. Presently, our principals are enforcing appropriately and modestly dressed to the best of their ability. Yes. And we support them in that. When they become more prescriptive or trying to go outside of that, it makes it harder to support. But we're happy to support whatever the board would like for us to have. That's okay, because you know, when you have technology, you always have a backup. Oh, there it is. I was about to pull out the paper copies, y'all. This is just a mock example of what the poster could look like. We would put it in visitor-friendly terms, make it approachable. One of the things that we have is that we always want the entrance of our school to also be welcoming. So we try not to put just a list of all the don't do's. We try to frame it in a positive manner. But again, this will probably go through many versions, but it highlights what's in the current. And Mr. Hanna, is it okay? May I hand it over to Ms. Braswell?
Yes,
She has
Ms.
some.
Braswell.
Thank you.
No comment.
Y'all go ahead.
We good? Ms. King?
I'm good. This is something, I think when Bel Air opened, I was there at that school that year, where I complained about a child who got out of school, out the car with their mother, looking like they rolled out the bed. And I thought it was pretty bad. Bear with me. The last 2 weeks has been an eye-opener for me, being out in the community. Can I say there's times I go out and my pants is dirty, my hair sticking up on my head, I have a hat on, I don't have no makeup, but I'm in Lowe's. But lately I have seen some things in our community that has been very disturbing. And at first I thought You know, you are getting old, maybe you missing something. So I picked up the phone and I called my daughters to ask them what was I missing. And I'm finding now the trend is we have grown women literally running around with no underclothes on. And their rear end actually being exposed. Our children see this. They're not at home doing this. They in the supermarkets. And they in the stores. They're in the restaurant. Now, I'm old-fashioned. Certain things, you know, you just take pride in doing. So if a mother is coming in here, and I'm not picking on nobody because I have a family member. She swear up and down her moo-moos are on the high end. I said, it's a good thing mama not alive, because she would crucify you. That's bedroom attire. Coming out, I think everybody right now, the big thing has been Tuskegee taking away the do-rags and the bonnets. Certain things is just not appropriate. Just like you don't go into church looking any kind of way. You do what's appropriate. So I think our principals felt like they could not address it, but they need to, because guess what? We're setting the standard for when a child moves from elementary school to middle, they know how they should act and dress. When they move from middle to high, it's the same thing. So when they get to high school and they're on their way to college, or they're on their way to the workforce, you can't go in there with see-through leggings on. You can't go in there with all your chest hanging out. You just, or men going in there, however. We got to tighten up as a community as a whole and go back to putting some pride in how we step out our house looking. I just think Ms. Braswell didn't say anything more than I have stressed for the last 5 or 6 years. Let's look, if you look the part, eventually it'll rub off on you and you'll get to the part to where you go out in public looking halfway decent. And I can say, back to the scale, those nights where I'm laying in bed and I get a wild hair and I'm in my car on my way to Krispy Kreme donuts, but I'm in something that I wouldn't go in the store, but since I'm going through the driveway, I can get the drive-through, I can get away with it. But I would never go in a store or anywhere where my body is just totally being exposed to young children. I'm just sorry. I'm just so sorry.
Ms. Stovall?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Ms. Braswell and I spoke extensively about this, and one of the things she said that was this wasn't what she asked for. So when I asked for clarification of what exactly are you asking for, because we have it somewhat addressed where it says appropriately and moderately dressed. She wanted to talk about specifics, and she gave specific examples because I think we stayed on the phone for maybe an hour and a half, and I was given a scenario. She specifically talked about parents walking in the door with bedroom clothes on, like the pajamas and the pajama shoes and the things of that nature. And one of the examples I gave is, say that I'm mom, and it's my day off, and I'm just gonna run Johnny to school. I'm in a car ride line, and I'm gonna run Johnny to school and drop him off, and I'm coming back home to get in bed. It's 7:30 in the morning, so no, I'm not gonna get fully dressed to go up there. But what if Miss Abbott taps on my window and say, Ms. Stovall, I need to see you for a minute, and I gotta step out the car, and I'm in my pajamas or whatever. We have to make sure that when we're discussing these things, and I would like for Ms. Braswell to give her comments and share, because it was a reason why this was asked for. We are seeing examples beyond, we know for a fact that the nakedness, the see-through tops, that's totally inappropriate. Don't care what your income level is, don't care what your status is, but we're talking about making sure that what may be offensive to you may not necessarily be offensive to me, but I'm still dressed. right? When we start talking about cultural things and we start talking about income levels, because I'm just going to be honest, someone living in a poor community may not have the same level of clothing that someone may have on the west side or another side. Most people don't even know the difference between casual, business casual, dress casual, and professional. So a lot of times when we'll see it, classic example, at a funeral. We had my mother's funeral, and we said we're going to dress up. Someone walked in with jeans and sneakers with just a nice shirt on, and they thought that was dressed up. Now I have to look at what family dynamics do they come from, right? The family background, because what's dressed up for one may not be dressed up for another. So I'm thinking she's looking, and Ms. Braswell, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going off the conversation we had of, can we name some things? Because sometimes saying dress moderately and appropriately may not be the same thing for the same two people. So can we list some examples such as, don't walk in here with your bedroom clothes on. Don't walk in here with your pajamas on. Don't walk in here with sexually suggestive words on your t-shirts, because I have seen that. I have seen people, it's a t-shirt, they're dressed, they're covered, but they got something on the front that may not be appropriate, or certain things that older generation may not understand what it is, but we see it and go, yeah, that's not right, kind of a thing. So can we as a board have that discussion about, should we list this out? And how far do we list out? Because again, what's appropriate for me may not be appropriate for you. But having that conversation as a board and the things that we're seeing within our communities and our schools, but also having our principals at the table with that, having our teachers at the table with that, so they can tell us what they're seeing. That way that helps us to shape the conversation of where do we go from this, because that is kind of vague. If we're going to be honest, to say appropriately and modestly dressed, that is kind of vague, because everybody doesn't have the same level of understanding. And so I would think it would behoove us as a board to take this conversation a little deeper, and it may not be able to be solved here today. This may be a work session where we can invite in some principals, where we can invite in some parents, where we can invite in certain committees to have that conversation, so we can maybe have a different outline, because this didn't address visitor attire. It listed 5 things: respect, sign in, video, and sign out being recorded. No, not too many people will look at that and know that a moderately and appropriate dress will constitute as visitors attire. So if we could possibly have this conversation more extensively, that way we can have it, and I don't want, and here's what I don't want to have. I don't want us to sit here and shame anybody. I don't want any comments that we may say come across as attacking anyone, a certain group of people, degrading anyone for their level of dressing or anything like that. So I think this should be a conversation that we have as a board in a work session with others to come up with the guidelines.
Ms. Valentine?
Looking at this, I mean, all the information is pretty self-explainable. If we feel the need to post something, we can post it. My whole theory, one, it's 2026, and I'm talking about people, what they're wearing, and I find that to be almost laughable. I mean, if you have children, the clothing that you send your children to school in is what you should wear to come to school. I mean, if you follow the kids' dress code of nothing hanging out, top, bottom, whatever, and no bad words, you're good. You're covered. Just follow, you dress like your kid would. I don't feel the need for a work session for this, and I'm just going to say what my grandmother always said, in different words. Your economic situation has nothing to do with your level of self-respect. My grandma always said, doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, your house should still be clean. Has nothing to do one with the other. I wouldn't want to spend a day at a work session, and I think this is almost silly. This is not a huge problem. This isn't 50% of our parents aren't showing up like this. These are outliers. I think the principal should be afforded the opportunity to address the situation as it comes up. We give them the guidance, and we move from there.
It's just a matter of pride.
Well, that too.
And so, again, not to drag this out, I would say, let me challenge you on that. How you was raised doesn't align with how everybody was raised. Even though, and let me say, I agree with you. You know, of course, I'm 48 years old, though. We're talking about younger parents. You're talking about people who may not have had the guidance. You're talking about people who, I don't care about my house being clean because I'm trying to keep the lights on. You know, I'm trying to feed my kids. That'll come later. I don't want to sound insensitive about that situation of saying sometimes it does matter what your economic standards are, because you sometimes are forced with making decisions. You and I may not have that problem, but there are people, and we see this often when we talk about our students that are come and have to go to the clothing closet. When we're talking about our students, and then we can also say, yes, it makes sense to say if you follow the student code of conduct and the student dress code, then just come like that. There are parents, again, we have to change mindsets. There are parents that go, I'm not the student. Y'all wrote that for the student. That's how they're supposed to dress. You don't tell me how to dress. So I think it may not be a full work session. It may be something that we can throw in a whole total another set where we discuss different topics. But I don't think we should, she brought it to the board because it is something that she may be seeing in her community. She may be seeing it in her district. It may not be prevalent in yours. I know I see it in mine. But it is bothering her as a board member and a representative of that community to bring it to her colleagues to say, can we address this, or at least talk about or look into, maybe we don't need to have one, but she at least is asking for us to consider that we may need to address this for some parents.
So let me roll this back, because I think I got misunderstood. I'm not questioning whether Ms. Braswell should have brought this to us. Absolutely not. I have no problem with that, because I saw some of the Facebook posts and whatever, and so I think you bringing it to the board and bringing it to Dr. Pop, I think that was the appropriate and correct thing to do. So I don't want to misdo the two. I just think, and to also be clear, my economic status as an elementary school student was not the same economic status it is today. I grew up down at the bottom too. So I'm not when I say your economic status doesn't reflect on your self-respect, it shouldn't. It shouldn't, because you're trying to be who you're trying to be. But what I'm trying to say is, I do think this is laughable, because even in other communities that I'm a part of Richmond County, trying to choose my words carefully here, I still think this is a situation that principals should be able to handle within their school system. I don't think this is an area for us as a board. We've given instruction, they should be modestly and appropriately dressed, and the principal should manage their building and the community that they know, because they see these parents every day, and they can pull a parent aside and say, look, you know, can you do? I'm trying to limit some of our overreach. Sometimes we go in and we make decisions that
I absolutely agree with you.
That's kind of what it should be handled that way.
Okay, I'm going to let Ms. Braswell speak. Ms. Braswell?
So, because I was not allowed to present this the way that I felt the vision of how I seen it was supposed to go, or what I was getting from the pushback from my school, I created a couple of flyers to show the board what appropriate or inappropriate clothes would look like, and that part of the conversation would not have even been happening. We are targeting certain parts, the way they dress, the saggy pants. I don't want to see your behind. when you walk into the school. I don't want to see your underwear. Kids don't have a right to see that kind of stuff. The principals should have the autonomy. Here's my thing, board members and my colleagues. We always talk about the principals have the autonomy to do what they want to do in their schools until they're not doing what you want them to do.
Right.
Okay? For me, if you walk into a school smelling like weed or marijuana, you should not be allowed in our school. We should call defects, or even if we don't, and excuse my aggressiveness because I'm really, really mad right now. Okay? Secondly, you coming in there in your lingerie. I walked in this school and I seen the parents. I listened to the principal say, you know, I apologize, we can't do it right. They said the board won't allow us to stop the parents from coming in the building. Me and Shonda's conversation went down like this. Well, what happens when the parent is walking the kid in the school and the teacher invite them in? No, teacher, you're gonna have to step out to talk to the parent because the parent should not be in the building in their pajamas like that. However, there are some exceptions to the rule. We call the parent, the kid is out, let her come get the kid. But the person at the door is the first person to see the people on the thing. You can look, you can see a parent inappropriately dressed and say, hey, I'm sorry, we can't let you in the building like this. We'll bring the kid out to you and have that conversation.
Without the child there.
Without the child there. Mm-hmm. But again, I gave Charla the flyer, the thing so you could see exactly what I'm talking about. None of y'all have seen it. And I'm upset about that. Because all of this discussion wouldn't be happening. Yes, Ms. Kane, you have been saying it for years. This is the time. It was principals that brought this to me. It was principals. You know, if I can't go to school in a muumuu and a bonnet on my head, then nobody else should. And until we make a change, the next board meeting expect me to be in my pajamas because school gonna put me out this building.
Excuse me, Dr. Cobb, can you forward us what Ms. Braswell sent later on this week?
Absolutely. And so Ms. Braswell, I've had extensive conversations, and what I shared prior to coming in is I'll do a first run on what we have adopted. And she said I have some ideas. So I have 2 sample flyers where she was able to take what we started and provide some other ideas. They aren't currently aligned to what we have. I would be more than happy to share that with the board, as Ms. Braswell also can do. I'd be happy to let you see the samples that she created.
So back to your response, Dr. Cobb. You did this. You and the media, Haley done put this together. My thing is, how can you put something together based on you don't know what exactly it was I wanted to talk about or how I wanted to put it in context? I can't get that out of my head. When you look at what I was talking about, and this is not the same at all.
Yes, ma'am. Well, certainly if I've misunderstood anything, I've tried my best to be able to explain to you what we currently have, show you what it could look like, and then I opened up for discussion to ask, do you want to change? I'm happy to do a focus group with principals to see if they want to come up with some examples. I'm happy to really go at the direction of what you want. I tried to provide to you what we have and what we can easily stand up with what was approved in the current code of conduct.
Ms. Kane?
I want to piggyback on something Ms. Braswell said. Yes, I have been complaining about this for years. And over the years, and I'm just sorry, I'm old school. I'm just straight up old school. And sometimes that's what we need to keep a balance between the old and the new. It's kind of like when you get married, you say something new, something blue, something old. You know, that's the way I am. But again, we shouldn't even be having this discussion. Period, point blank. Period. Now, I'm going to take exception to principals. You all heard me sit here in them boardrooms and say, principals can take control of your schools. Now, one thing the principals are good for, and I'm gonna call it like it is. Principal quick to say, well, the board said so.
That's right.
And half the time, the stuff that we get phone calls, they say, well, the board said so, and I can't say what I said. But we didn't say it. So we need to first tell the truth and shame the devil. We ain't said it. And if a principal come to me, and I find that some of that principal's on the right side of right, I'm gonna support you 100%. I don't believe a child should come in there, you cuss a teacher, you cuss an adult, you need to go home. That's just respect. There's not a person sitting in this room, no matter what economic status you came from. Your mama, your grandmother, your great-grandmother did not teach you. Period, point blank. I wish one of mine would. Because if they do, if you call me up to that school for one of my grands, we're going to have a problem. And nobody going to tell me how to deal with that problem. But I can guarantee you, you're not going to have that problem no more. It goes back to self-pride. I go in stores, when I see them young men, I said, baby, come here, let me whisper something in your ear. And they look at me. I said, I don't want to see your tighty whities. I said, you're such a good-looking little fella. Pull your pants up. How you expect to get a decent woman? They pull their pants up and say, thank you. But we have allowed it now to progress to where women are literally coming in schools, half-dressed. We're going into supermarkets in the public, literally with our rear end hanging out in no underwear. And again, I go back, I thought I was doing something wrong. Was I not supposed to do that? Am I overly dressed?
Please don't have your cheeks out. Please don't have your cheeks out.
It just goes back to what is right. What is humanly and morally right. It's never been right to come out half naked, point blank.
Thank you, Ms. Kay. Dr. Cobb?
It does sound like there is some interest in the board of maybe having some examples. So why don't I'll share the 2 flyers that our colleague made. You can take a look at those. We have a work session later this month. We can also work with our principal advisory group and our cabinet to maybe even identify some examples of appropriate attire. And then we will take this discussion to the work session to see how we want to narrow that down. I do want to say, I think our principals try to enforce everything that they believe that they are asked to do. They do have a lot of tasks. It's hard to enforce student dress code, no cell phones, do a good job in the classroom, staff wear what you want to, making sure you are dressed appropriately, and the visitors. So we are happy to do what the board would like for us to do. We will make that happen. If that's okay with you, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
I can provide that additional.
Yeah, please do. And I'd like to make a comment. I like what we already have, and I've seen what Ms. Braswell had wanted to present out, and it does have merit to it. Matter of fact, I agree with both of them, and with Ms. Braswell's more specific, but this is something that at the end of the day, whatever we decide to work with is something that I expect Mr. Fletcher to approve. Right. Simply because I'm concerned, the only concern I have with Ms. Braswell's is that if we get too specific, it becomes it becomes a game, and there are masters of the game. But I will say that everything that I've seen that she has allowed me to see does have strong merit, and I 100% agree. But how we put it out there is going to be interesting. In reference to our principals, I think using both of them, what Ms. Braswell have and what we have right here, we should have a discretionary ladder for the principals, to make a determination. But at the end of the day, I believe that principals should have the flexibility to run their school accordingly. Situations changes, population changes, but you understand what I'm saying. So I think there's a sweet spot somewhere in the middle, so hopefully we can get to that. Thanks. And I think that should...
That's it?
Yeah. That is Student Services Committee, and everyone got to hear my voice last, so I feel very important. Madam President, I turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanna, and thank you, board members, for a very lively and respectful conversation. Sometimes when we're touching on sensitive subjects, sometimes we can feel a certain way about it, but I'm thankful that as a board, I'm really proud of us of how we've learned to interact, share our opinions without going out there. No, Venus, we don't want to see your cheeks out. We don't want to see your cheeks out. Announcements. The Richmond County Board of Education will hold its August 2026 regular board meeting on August 18th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the John S. Davidson Fine Arts Magnet School Auditorium, right here where we are, next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. The Richmond County Board of Education will hold a board retreat on August 27th, 2026 from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. And congratulations to the Richmond County school system on a successful first week of school.
Amen.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned from today's committee meeting. Hopefully we will see you all next week, next Tuesday at 6 p.m. right here in the auditorium.